The member from Chestermere Strathmore has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise prayerfully thankful to be living in peace in our great province and to respond to the speech from the throne. I thank the constituents of Chestermere Strathmore for the privilege to stand in this chamber today, the heart of our democracy, where echoes of Ernest Manning, Peter Lougheed, and Ralph Klein still linger. I'm grateful to my family, my friends, and volunteers for the support and encouragement on the road to where I stand today. I'm humbled by the trust the constituents of Chestermere Strathmore have placed in me and pledge to represent them to the best of my abilities. In what follows, I will sketch what makes Alberta great and the duty to guard against the font of two existential threats to Alberta and to the people of my constituency. Mr. Speaker, the urban and rural blended constituency of Chestermere Strathmore is a microcosm of the people of our province and a model of what Albertans have and can achieve. Indigenous peoples walked, hunted, and navigated through these beautiful lands for countless generations. Despite its beauty and splendour, the first settlers to arrive in southern Alberta's semi-arid environment in the 18th century considered it unfit for agriculture. But these pioneers worked together to irrigate parts of this semi-desertic landscape. Future Albertans tirelessly carved the land and diverted flows to inject life-giving water into what is now my riding. Originally started by the CP Rail, the Western Irrigation District of the Bow River Irrigation System began in 1904. Its main canals brought clear waters flowing from the Rocky Mountains into the Bow River Valley to Reservoir No. 1, which is Chestermere Lake today. A partnership between the government and the rail company built a model farm near Strathmore to demonstrate that farming could be done here, which attracted more farming and ranching pioneers now rooted in our land. The irrigation development has seen cycles of state and private ownership, featuring the entrepreneurial and the innovative spirit that still inhabits the people of Chestermere Strathmore to this day, and shaped it into what has become the irrigation flow that many of my constituents enjoy, including the communities of Chestermere, Strathmore, Langdon, Conrich, Carsland, Loyalta, Indus, Delacour, Delroy, Delmead, Strangmere, Ardenode, Janet, and more small hamlets. Among these, you'll find some of the fastest-growing municipalities in the province. The city of Chestermere, for example, grew nearly 500% over the last 2 decades. It was only 30 years ago that Chestermere had just over 1,000 permanent residents. Today, there are over 25,000. People come from within Canada and the four corners of the world seeking opportunity, putting their talents to work, building new thriving businesses, and joining Albertans already here in shaping better lives in a greater province. I'm also honoured to represent the farmers, ranchers, and cattle feeders who, like my father, work tirelessly to produce food for the tables of Alberta's homes, Canada, and beyond. I'm also honoured to represent the businesses and commercial activities that operate in the riding. These businesses, ranchers, and farmers are the backbone of our economy. I will be their voice in this chamber. I'm here to serve them. I'm here to ensure that this flourishing constituency readies for its long-term development. I'm here to see to it that our communities enjoy excellent schools, roads, servicing and water solutions, and all the elements required to support such growth. I'm here to conserve and improve what our communities have achieved. Mr. Speaker, my journey to represent Chestermere Strathmore in this chamber was inspired by my father. My dad was born into a farming family in the Netherlands. He left behind his family, his friends, his culture, and his homeland to immigrate to Alberta as a teenager. He sacrificed much to come to southern Alberta to forge his way. He started farming and he built his future from the dirt up. Here, he found the freedom and the opportunity that have defined our province for generations. And this has been the great story of hundreds of thousands of Albertans over the last century and a half. From their work habits and example, I've learned that the brightest season of our history lies ahead. And to create that brighter future, we need to protect the conditions that gave my dad his opportunities so we can pass them on to future generations. Our successful school choice model, unique in Canada, is an example of such conditions of freedom and opportunity. They foster the individual autonomy and responsibility that have become our North Star. And like the diverted waters from the Bow, they feed our traditions of good stewardship of our wealth, our land, and our resources. Autonomy and responsibility are the strength and pride of our province. They are the beacon of our Alberta advantage that continues to attract new Albertans. You see, Mr. Speaker, standing here in this chamber isn't the goal for me. Instead, it is a wide threshold. It is an open channel. It is a space to develop the best policy we can. It is a field to strive for good governance. It is a confluence of talents and hard work that creates robust outcomes worthy of Albertans. And the guiding path to this threshold is the conservative principles that I hold dear and on which I ran: family, faith, free enterprise, personal responsibility, grassroots leadership, the sanctity and dignity of human life, limited government, and low taxes. My love for this land of rolling hills, fertile prairies, majestic mountains, and blue streams propels my desire to fight for the people of this province so that we may remain, as our provincial motto says, strong and free. I got into politics to sustain the Alberta we love and to expand on the strength and freedom that nourish the Alberta spirit. We are strong when we are free, and we are free when we are strong. To sustain our strength and freedom and to ensure that these principles remain a beacon for generations to come, Alberta must face two sets of related challenges, simultaneously internal and external. First is the woke culture of progressives, which includes radical environmentalism and an obsession with identity politics. Woke progressive culture is a creature that feeds on division sown by invented grievances. It is a creature that reduces and diminishes people to narrow identities. It is a creature that opposes freedom of expression in the public square and in our schools and universities. It is a creature that scorns science, faith, and hope. Woke progressive culture is a creature hostile to the core traditions of Albertans and who we are. It divides friends and families. It pits parents against children, citizens against neighbours, and workers against businesses. It is a creature that afflicts many, chief among them our friends across the aisle, Mr. Speaker. And in this execution of that progressive plan, we are seeing an attack on Albertans, on our provincial identity, our energy sector, our farms and ranches, our institutions, and our families. We are seeing an assault on parental rights and authority tacitly endorsed by Ottawa with New Democrat complicity. And this is wrong. As the main founder of our province, the famously pragmatic Frederick Haltain often repeated, there is no compromise with wrong. The family is the fundamental building block of society and how citizens naturally pass on the torch of culture. Healthy and strong families beget strong communities and healthy societies. Without strong families, individuals quickly become vassals of the state. There's no culture without families, and our coalition was built on this principle and on the promise that families are protected from state intrusions. We must never let ideologues interfere with the fundamental natural rights of parents to raise their children with the same love, care, and principles they hold dear. It is our job to sustain Albertans, and we maintain and develop a stronger culture by maintaining strong families. The second challenge Albertans face, Mr. Speaker, is a federal government increasingly intrusive and hostile to Western provinces. More than that, there's a federal government disturbingly bent on punishing Albertans. They have been shameless in applying double standards to reward and pump up vote-rich regions while punishing those who, in their eyes, unwisely diverge from their doomsday views. Ottawa is trying to crush our livelihood and our spirit. Using their cultish environmental ideology, they seek to crush our businesses, our farms, and our ranches. Albertans are leaders in environmental standards, Mr. Speaker, and we'll take no lessons from people who allow the pouring of billions of litres of raw sewage into the precious habitat for beluga whales. In the 5 short months since I was elected, Mr. Speaker, I have seen a rise in the pitch and number of federal government belligerent attacks on our constitutional autonomy, our economic liberty, and on our way of life. We live in a time in which our federal counterparts actively expand their powers to the detriment of Albertans by cutting down the neighbourly fences between jurisdictions. We live in a time in which our federal counterparts are removed from the realities of raising a family or running a business. Theirs is a dangerous centralizing and homogenizing project to refashion the country in accordance with their progressive ideas, an ideology that operates bereft of common sense and in the irrational foreground of a contrived doomsday. It is dangerous, Mr. Speaker, because expanding power without limits always unfolds into tyranny. Frederick Hultain, then premiers of these territories before provincehood, was cognizant of this problem when he warned Prime Minister Laurier in early 1905, if the provincial jurisdiction can be invaded by federal legislation, what limit is there to the exercise of such power? The federal denial of control of our own natural resources at birth took 25 years to reverse, from Hultain to Premier Brownlee, and who can forget the epic battles won by Premier Lougheed to push Ottawa's taxing hand out of Alberta's oil wells. Alberta will vigorously resist the destructive progressive ideologies and attempts to invade provincial jurisdiction by expanding federal powers. We have been here before, Mr. Speaker, from Frederick Hultain to Premiers Lougheed, Klein, Kenney, and now Smith. We have risen to the challenge, and I am proud to stand with those who have defended us against these assaults. Albertans deserve strong leadership to protect our spaces and our livelihoods, to protect our institutions and our families, and that is why they sent United Conservatives to form a government. Alberta and Albertans sent us here to get the job done. And I hope the official opposition will abandon their sometimes tacit and sometimes active complicity with Ottawa and work with us instead to fend off these federal attacks against Alberta's people and interests. Albertans alone will decide and chart our future, Mr. Speaker. We aren't the sort to be governed by remote. And the best way to resist these open attacks is for Alberta to occupy fully the constitutional spaces that the Canadian Constitution grants our province in areas such as resource management, education, and healthcare. The best way to conserve what Albertans have built and to make it sustainable for future generations is to fill our jurisdictional spaces with more Alberta and then tend to our fences. Because good fences make for good neighbours, and that's what Alberta's sovereignty within a united Canada does, Mr. Speaker. It is a great honour and privilege for me to stand in this chamber and follow in the footsteps of earlier defenders of our provincial rights. This room has hosted the policy debates that have shaped our present and will continue to influence the flow of our prosperity for generations to come. Our main mission is to safeguard Alberta and Albertans for Albertans. As such, it is my honour to serve as the youngest member of this 31st Legislature of Alberta. And I pledge my energy and my youth to my constituents and the people of this province. I will toil with vigour to advance and defend what we have achieved together since the territorial government led by Frederick Hultain. I hope to bring new and revitalized perspective and energy to tried and tested ideas and to the flowing, timeless truths of which I've spoken today. My father taught me the values I hold: hard work, the virtues of merit, quiet pride, and respect. And these will be my tools in the service of my constituents and this my beloved province to the very best of my abilities. May the fearless spirits of those who tame this rugged land, spirits which still move through the waters that flow from the peaked steeples of our mountains through to the canals of my riding, sustaining bodies and souls, purify our oaths, bless our work, and hold our promises afloat in the rivers of our lives. Thank you.